Machiavelli was an Italian Renaissance political philosopher, historian, and diplomat. His philosophy is centered around power, realism, and the effective exercise of political authority. He rejected traditional moral and ethical constraints on rulers, instead advocating a pragmatic, sometimes ruthless approach to governance. His ideas have since been associated with political realism, the belief that leaders should prioritize power and stability over ethical considerations. His key philosophical principles include political realism over idealism. Machiavelli's philosophy is grounded in political realism, which contrasts with the idealistic views of earlier thinkers like Plato and Aristotle. He argued that politics is not about how things should be, but about how they actually are. Leaders must recognize the harsh realities of human nature, where self-interest, ambition, and deceit often drive actions. Unlike moral philosophers who sought to guide rulers toward virtue, he believed that rulers should be guided by practicality and necessity rather than moral absolutes, whether the ends justify the means. One of Machiavelli's most famous and controversial ideas is that the success of a ruler justifies the methods used to achieve it. He argued that rulers should do whatever is necessary to maintain power and ensure stability, even if it means using deception, manipulation, or cruelty. While he did not explicitly state that the ends justify the means, his writing specifically, The Prince, implies that morality should be secondary to political survival and effectiveness. Role of the nature of power and authority. Machiavelli viewed power as the central force in politics. He emphasized that power is rarely given willingly. It must be taken, maintained, and defended. He distinguished between two types of power. Power gained through virtue. This involves a ruler's intelligence, decisiveness, adaptability, and ability to command respect. Power gained through fortune. This refers to circumstances beyond a ruler's control, such as luck, external events, or inherited positions. A successful ruler, according to Machiavelli, combines both virtue and fortune, but should rely more on strategic skill than on luck. The role of fear and love. Machiavelli posed the famous question, is it better to be feared or loved? He concluded that while both are desirable, it is safer to be feared than loved, provided the ruler does not become hated. Love is unreliable because people are fickle and driven by self-interest, but fear is a stronger motivator that ensures obedience. However, he cautioned rulers against being excessively cruel, as this could lead to rebellion. Using deception and manipulation as tools of leadership. Machiavelli advised rulers to be cunning and deceitful when necessary. He argued that political leaders should not always keep their word if doing so would harm their interests. He drew examples from history showing that rulers who relied solely on honesty and goodwill often failed, while those who were strategic and adaptable succeeded. He compared a ruler to both a lion, strong and aggressive, and a fox, cunning and deceitful, arguing that a balance of both traits is essential for survival. The importance of military strength. Machiavelli believed that a ruler must have a strong military to maintain power and security. He compared a ruler to both a lion, strong and aggressive, and a fox, cunning and deceitful, arguing that a balance of both traits is essential for survival. He distrusted mercenaries and auxiliaries, hired foreign soldiers, considering them unreliable and dangerous. Instead, he advocated for a ruler to maintain a well-trained, loyal army composed of his own people. He also emphasized that war is an inevitable part of politics, and rulers should always be prepared for it rather than relying on diplomacy alone. Republic against principality. Lessons from discourses on Livy. While The Prince is focused on absolute rulers, princes, Machiavelli's other major work, Discourses on Livy, argues in favor of republican government. In this book, he praises the Roman Republic's system of checks and balances, civic virtue, and institutional stability. He believed that republics, when structured correctly, could be more stable and resilient than monarchies. Religion and politics. Machiavelli was critical of the Catholic Church's influence on politics. He believed that religion could be used as a tool to control the masses, but he also saw it as a potential obstacle to effective governance. He viewed religious leaders as often corrupt and self-serving, and he argued that rulers should prioritize political necessity over religious doctrine. Adaptability and the role of fortune. Machiavelli recognized that fortune plays a significant role in human affairs, but he argued that leaders who adapt to changing circumstances can shape their own destiny. He likened fortune to a wild river that can be tamed with preparation and strong leadership. The most successful rulers, in his view, are those who anticipate change and adjust their strategies accordingly. Legacy and modern interpretations. Machiavelli's ideas remain highly influential in political science, leadership studies, and international relations. His work is often interpreted in two ways. As a handbook for ruthless leadership, many see The Prince as an endorsement of manipulation and tyranny. As a pragmatic analysis of power, others argue that Machiavelli was simply describing the realities of political power, not necessarily endorsing them. His work has been referenced in discussions on leadership, business strategy, and even military tactics. Many political leaders, from Napoleon to modern-day strategists, strategists have studied Machiavelli's ideas to understand how power operates. Machiavelli's philosophy challenges traditional notions of morality and politics, arguing that effectiveness and stability matter more than ethical purity. He redefined leadership by focusing on power, realism, and adaptability rather than idealism. His insights remain relevant today, providing valuable lessons on strategy, governance, and human nature. Whether viewed as a cynical guide to power or a realist take on politics, Machiavelli's work continues to shape discussions on leadership and authority. Machiavelli's philosophy has not only shaped political thought but has also found relevance in modern business, corporate leadership, and strategic decision-making. His ideas on adaptability, deception, and power management have been applied beyond governance, influencing leaders in various fields who seek to navigate competitive environments. In business, the Machiavellian approach often manifests in strategic maneuvering, where executives prioritize long-term stability and growth over short-term ethical concerns. The ability to anticipate rivals' moves, outmaneuver competition, and maintain control within an organization aligns with Machiavelli's principles of statecraft, demonstrating the enduring applicability of his ideas in diverse areas of leadership. Machiavelli's insights into the role of fear and love in leadership continue to spark debate in political and corporate environments. His assertion that it is better to be feared than loved remains a contentious issue, particularly in democratic societies where leaders must balance authority with public approval. In modern politics, some leaders have embraced Machiavellian strategies to consolidate power, using fear-based tactics, misinformation, or calculated alliances to maintain their positions. Conversely, democratic governance often demands a balance between Machiavelli's pragmatic approach and the need for ethical leadership, where public trust and moral integrity also play crucial roles in sustaining power. Machiavelli's views on the role of military strength also have significant implications in contemporary geopolitics. His belief that strong, self-reliant military forces are essential for maintaining power resonates with modern defense policies and national security strategies. The idea that rulers should not depend on external forces for protection aligns with the doctrine of military self-sufficiency, a principle that many nations prioritize today. His perspective on war as an inevitable and necessary aspect of governance remains relevant in an era where global conflicts, military interventions, and power struggles continue to shape international relations. Despite the controversy surrounding his work, Machiavelli's influence remains undeniable in discussions on power, governance, and strategy. His pragmatic approach to leadership, although criticized for its perceived cynicism, offers valuable lessons on the complexities of human nature and political control. Whether viewed as a guide for ruthless leadership or a realistic analysis of power dynamics, his writings continue to challenge conventional wisdom and inspire debate among scholars, politicians, and business leaders. As societies evolve, the relevance of Machiavelli's ideas endures, proving that the pursuit of power and stability remains a fundamental aspect of human civilization. Machiavelli's political philosophy was deeply influenced by the turbulent political landscape of Renaissance Italy, particularly the instability of the Florentine Republic and the constant power struggles among Italian city-states. He lived during a time when Rome, once the center of a vast and organized empire, had long fallen into disarray, leaving behind a fragmented Italy vulnerable to foreign invasions and internal conflicts. In his writing Discourses on Livy, Machiavelli analyzed the Roman Republic's rise and fall, admiring its early structure of checks and balances, civic engagement, and military strength. He saw Rome's success as rooted in its ability to balance power between the aristocracy, the common people, and the Senate. However, he also noted that corruption, complacency, and an over-reliance on mercenaries contributed to its eventual downfall. His writings emphasized that political institutions must be adaptable, reinforcing his belief that a leader must be willing to make difficult, sometimes ruthless decisions to preserve the stability of the state. Machiavelli's impact on Rome was indirect but significant, as his ideas influenced later political thinkers and leaders who sought to revive elements of Roman governance. The Papal States, which held significant power in Italy at the time, embodied many of the issues Machiavelli criticized: corruption, weak leadership, and political manipulation. His advocacy for strong, centralized rule and his warnings about internal decay resonated with leaders seeking to restore Rome's influence in a fragmented Italy. Over time, Machiavelli's ideas laid the groundwork for the development of modern political thought, inspiring the realpolitik strategies of future rulers. His admiration for the disciplined and militarized Rome of antiquity also contributed to the 19th century Italian unification movement, where leaders like Cavour and Garibaldi embraced Machiavellian principles to consolidate Italy into a single powerful nation. Though Rome never regained its former imperial status, Machiavelli's insights into power and governance continued to shape its political landscape in the centuries that followed. His emphasis on pragmatic leadership and the necessity of power consolidation influenced influenced not only Italian statesmen but also European monarchs who sought to strengthen their rule. Even centuries later, Machiavelli's reflections on Rome's political evolution serve as a reminder that the survival of a state depends on its ability to adapt, maintain authority, and balance the interests of its people and ruling elite.